Hey Genderqueer Chat, I'm back. I've been gone for about 4 weeks unexpectedly, so sorry about that. Um, yeah, I just had some weird health stuff on and off for like 3 out of the 4 weeks, which was weird because I'm usually pretty healthy. And since I wasn't feeling well, I was really not feeling up to making videos. And then last week, yeah, that was just my fault. It was our anniversary and I just didn't think about genderqueer chat apparently. So I realized at like 10 at night that I didn't make a video. So anyway, sorry I flaked out, but I'm back and I am here to answer this week's topic, which is, how do you think the understanding of gender will change 10 years from now? What positive changes have you already seen? How will this topic progress? And do you foresee any setbacks? So that's a lot of area to cover in this video, which I didn't realize when I made that question apparently. So I'm going to break this down just for my own sanity into about 4 groups. Just cisgender people, transgender, genderqueer, and just gender in general. So, I'm just referencing the question again real quick. Okay, so I'm going to start out with, what positive changes have you already seen? So, in my lifetime, what I've seen as far as any positive changes for gender, I've noticed that there are a lot more female-bodied individuals who have more like positions of power, I guess, in companies. I know personally, my company, a lot of female-bodied people are kind of running the show. We have a lot of female-bodied CEOs or managers, things like that. So strong leaders for the company. So that's really good. There are still male-dominated fields and things like that, of course. I don't know if they'll ever quite go away. It'd be nice if it did. But I think that gap is slowly starting to close as far as, male type of work versus female type of work, things like that. It's already come a long way since I know, the previous generation, since my mother was my age, back then it was, you were stuck with some sort of secretarial job or customer service type position or whatever. And I think that people have become much more open-minded as time has gone on, and just in my lifetime I've noticed a lot more women, as I said, in higher positions in the workforce, so that's good. Another thing interesting that I've noticed is I've seen a spike in more recent years in stay-at-home dads, which is really cool. I think that really kind of reverses a lot of those traditional gender roles right there, where the dad is staying at home and taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, making sure everyone's getting to soccer practice, whatnot, and the mother's going out and working. And I've actually known some people who I've worked with where they've traded off, where someone's wife would stay at home with the kids for the first 5 to 10 years, and then the husband would stay at home with the kids while they're in high school. I've noticed some people trading off that way. I don't ever think it's really essential that one parent stay home, but if that's that family's decision, I think that's fine. But I think it's good to see some male-bodied individuals really doing, a lot of what would be traditional female work. I think that's really important, especially if we're trying to get away from traditional gender roles and just move forward as a society. For transgender people, as far as positive changes, I've noticed there's more visibility. I see a lot more transgender people, and just out and about, and I think there's more visibility. transgender visibility within the LGBT community as a whole, and as well as in society. I think there's just a little bit more awareness of transgender people. I don't know if it's really fully accepted yet. Actually, I know it's not fully accepted yet by, at least by American society, but I think it's getting there. It's very slow steps, but it's definitely getting there. I think it's less of a taboo thing now, I think. I just notice more transgender groups or more transgender people at LGBT events, or like I said, just out and about doing normal daily things, which is very good. There's also, more awareness on of transgender children. That's actually, I think, in the last few years, it's been a really, not a hot topic, but very, I've seen a lot of articles about it, basically. For example, and good articles at that, I remember a few years ago, there was a little girl who said that she felt like she was a boy, and there was this whole kind of progression. I think there was actually a website that kind of followed her whole transition from being female into being male, and then the family dealing with that and whatnot. And I'm not sure how old he is now, but I know that was really the first I heard about a transgender child. And that was, I think I was in my late teens, early 20s when I read about that. And since then I've noticed a lot more awareness around it, and a lot more acceptance of transgender children, a lot of kids transitioning at a younger age, or at least coming out to their families at a younger age. There was one, I'm not sure where it was, but recently, in the last maybe month or so, there was a little girl who was born with male genitalia, basically, and the school system would not allow her to use the little girl's restroom. She had to use the little boy's restroom. And the parents actually sued the school, and they won. So that's, I think, a huge win. I think that's very cool. As far as genderqueer positive changes, I think there has been a very slow awareness of genderqueer people. I don't think the majority of people have still heard of genderqueer. I know most people don't really know what that term means, but I think it's slowly becoming a more popular thing, because I think more people fall in that gray area. So I think as more and more people hear this term or identify with this term, the people around them hear about genderqueer as well, and it just it's a slow growing movement. Well, I don't know if I'd call it a movement, but it's a slow growing topic. And just in the last couple of years, I've noticed that there are genderqueer groups. So there are groups like this one, Genderqueer Chat, even though we're all separated all over, throughout the world. It's still a group. We still come on here roughly once a week and talk about gender-related things. But there's also groups close to home here too, for me. I know that the center in downtown, they have a genderqueer/transgender support group, which is very cool. That the transgender group, it looks like they wanted to include genderqueer on that, so that's awesome. And there's a place called the Gender Identity Center, and they have a genderqueer specific support group, which is really neat. I haven't checked that out yet, but I would like to soon. That's really cool. So, and that's just been the last, again, maybe year or two. So, gender as a whole, positive changes with that would be, again, like the Gender Identity Center, things like that. That's not the LGBT Center. It's a completely different center for just gender-related things. Very broad, very cool. Also, there's a whole thing with, there are some parents who are just not assigning their child a gender at birth. And I think that just shows more gender awareness and that people realize that there is something outside of the gender binary. I'm getting really close to my time limit here on this, so I may have to upload a second video. If I do, I'll just pick up where I left off on this one. So anyway, I think that, again, by people choosing to not assign their child a gender and just let their child be who they are and let their child choose their gender, I think, again, that shows more awareness. And again, it's not a very popular thing right now, but some people are doing it, and that's wonderful. I think that's amazing that people are doing that. So how do you think the understanding of gender will change 10 years from now? I think the understanding of gender has changed a lot in the last 10 years. 10 years ago, there was just male, female, that's it, maybe transgender people, but not a lot of people. I don't think, at least I didn't hear about transgender people 10 years ago very much. I think I read one article about it once as a kid growing up. And yeah, so I think it's come a long, long way in 10 years. And even transgender people, that's still, 10 years ago, it was either a male moving to, transitioning to become female, or a female transitioning to become male. It was still working within that binary. Now you see people who go through surgery or take hormones and they don't identify as male or they don't identify as female. So that's, they stay more androgynous, so that's a huge change too. I'm going to stop this video here and I'm going to pick up in the second video.